Hey guys, Katie here from It's a Creek Farm, and we are planting, you can see behind me, we're planting the high tunnel, or at least the tomatoes in the high tunnel. Behind on this row back here, I have like 400 or 500 peas planted, and they're already pretty big. We planted those 6 weeks ago maybe, and they are already a couple feet tall. But I wanted to show you how we are doing the holes in our high tunnel, in the plastic, and drilling the holes. And I've kind of talked about it before, how we've done it, and I found a system that seems to work really well. As you guys who have followed us before know, our soil is horrible here. It's pretty much all sand. The topsoil was sold off of this place, and so we have no, pretty much usable dirt. We have great drainage, but we just don't have a lot of good dirt for growing stuff, which is why we have the high tunnel. So we are being very intentional about how we plant things and how we do things, and we're trying different ways to try to improve the soil and add topsoil and add some organic matter into the soil. And so let me show you how I am planting these tomatoes. So far it seems to be working really well. Okay, so what we need to do to cut the holes in the plastic, the ground covering, you could get a torch. We've been looking for a torch, and when we have the money to get one, we never can find them. And so I saw a video a while ago where somebody used one of these. It's a saw, a 4-inch saw that you'd use for cutting a hole in like drywall or plywood or something for an exhaust, like dryer exhaust. So you need one of these. And then I use this auger. I had one last year, a little bit shorter, and I bought a second one this year so that we could have 2 augers going when we're planting pumpkins, because this is how we plant pumpkins. And it seems to be working really well. This one is nice and deep, so we're using this one in here in the high tunnel, and I'll show you how I'm planting that in a minute. But first I'm going to show you how I cut the holes in the ground covering, and then I'll show you how to drill, and then I'll show you what we're putting in the holes. Get a really good one. Mm-hmm. That was a really good one. All right, so I've done some research, and I've seen people put alfalfa pellets into their tomato holes and their pepper holes because it's supposed to add good calcium and it absorbs water, so it'll keep water nice and deep. So I'm going to take and I'm going to put these holes that I made are really deep. My plan is that I'm going to plant the tomato plants pretty deep. They're going to be planted probably that deep. And so, but I have the hole probably 18 inches, maybe 2 feet deep. It's pretty deep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some alfalfa pellets, and probably like 1 full scoop per hole, depending on how deep I got the hole. I wasn't doing anything consistent. I was just drilling right down the row. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add, I have this compressed bale of Pro Mix here. I'm going to add that. That's what the plants are started in. All my plants were started in the organic because I was selling plant starts, and so just to make things easier, because some people really have a preference, we did all of our starts in the organic Pro Mix. But when I'm doing these holes, I can't afford 1,000 pumpkins plus hundreds of starts in here to do organic for everything. So I'm putting just the regular plain old Pro Mix, putting a little bit of dirt in there, and then Beck is gonna come with the hose. Here he is, and we are going to get this mixture nice and wet. Let's see.
It's on flat, so it's gonna go everywhere.
Flat. Thank you. We're gonna turn it on shower, and we're just gonna get that really nice and moistened. And then in each hole, I'm gonna put a little tiny bit. This is wool casings, or the underbelly of when they're shearing sheep. And it's got, like, they call it vegetable matter. It's got all the poop and the hay and the pee and that kind of stuff. I've heard that this makes excellent fertilizer to mix into your garden. And so I'm just gonna put a little bit in each one. It'll help the roots go nice and deep, and it also holds moisture. So I'm gonna do that. That's probably too much. I was talking with somebody about doing this, and they said that their concern is mice, and the amount of mice that would love to dig up our plants. And so I hadn't thought about that, so I'm just gonna do a little tiny bit, and then I might have filled that a little too full. You need to remember that the plants are, or the alfalfa pellets are expanding while they're in there. And then I'm gonna water that really well. And then I'm gonna take this little mound that I got from drilling the bit, and I'm just gonna go like that. And I did not get that one as deep as I wanted to, so I'm gonna try to do the next ones a little deeper, but I think that that's gonna be a really good start for our tomatoes. Okay, and we got these 2 rows of tomatoes done. Now I'm trying to decide, there's 50 here. I'm trying to decide if I want to do another row or just leave it at that. The way we're doing it this year is a lot more efficient for space than we did last year. Last year we did raised beds, and the year before we did raised beds. And so this year we tilled in all of the compost that were in those raised beds. We added some more compost and tilled those in. And then we're putting down the landscaping fabric and then doing rows of mulch in between each row. So we have all these tomatoes in, and then we have behind me all these peppers to put in. And so I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do more tomatoes or if I want to do some other things in here, like some squashes and some cucumbers, or just do those outside. Before I forget, we decided to do a trial with the wool because I wanted to see how much of a difference the wool made in each hole. And so what we did is we put wool in a few holes of each variety of tomatoes, and we marked them with the pink spray paint so that we can tell where the ones with the wool is. And then that way, when they're big, we can actually see if the wool makes a difference. We took the underbelly, nasty, yucky stuff, and just put a little bit in each of those holes. And then that way it's more of an experiment instead of wondering at the end of the year if it actually worked or not. So that's something that we will share on an update. But we got them planted. We got at least the first 2 rows planted, and they're looking awesome. So now I'm gonna head up to the house, go cool off, take a break, wait for it to cool down a bit, and then come back down and clean up my mess because this is going to drive me absolutely crazy. That's it for today's video. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we will see you next time.